What's up, everyone? This is Jay from Revolution Radio, and I wanted to take just a little bit of time today to discuss Joe Biden's involvement in the whistleblower's complaint and what's going on with his situation involved in that, and why Joe Biden keeps being brought up on this. So, essentially, what Donald Trump was looking into is something that his Joe Biden has admitted to many times. Um, in the spring of 2016, he strong-armed Ukraine to fire its chief prosecutor solely because Biden believed that the official was corrupt and inept. Although that prosecutor, at the same time, was investigating a natural gas company by the name of Bermsma Holdings that hired Biden's son and paid Biden's son very well. Um, Bermsma Holdings, again, natural gas company, paid Hunter a lot of money. Hunter had no experience in natural gas or fuel industry at all, so how he got as much money as he did is it's questionable. And in fact, Joe Biden, I believe in 2016, admitted that we told them we weren't going to give them the aid that they requested unless they fire this prosecutor. There's at least, I know, one video of him doing that. And that's a lot of what Trump was looking into. Um, there is conflicting reports that the prosecutor, was known as being corrupt and inept and did not deserve his position there. And on the other hand, his investigating of Hunter Biden in the regard to Bermsma Holdings was already done. And some had said that Biden made sure that that investigation was closed before um, he forced the Ukraine to fire him. I don't know if that's true. I haven't heard Biden say that, and it would be a weird thing to say at the time. Yeah, well, I told them that they need to fire the prosecutor, but I had to wait till he was done with the case with my son. Like that just doesn't come up organically, so it's a weird situation. I would love to see any sort of documentation that shows that. I'm sure when you're dealing with something like the government, you have to have so many written documents. I would assume that there is one out there that shows that Biden and Obama in this situation were going after this prosecutor, but that there was that caveat that they were waiting for him to be done with the investigation on his son. Don't know, haven't seen it. It is a huge problem, honestly, for the Democrats and for Biden, because the fact is it doesn't look good at all. Um, and for like, here's something like Burisma Holding Burisma Holdings American legal representative met with Ukraine officials just days after Biden forced the firing of the country's chief prosecutor and offered an apology. The interesting thing about that meeting was it was supposed to be kind of off the books, off the record, and right after they fired that prosecutor who was looking into their company, then Biden wants to meet with them. It's very, very weird because you understand this prosecutor had a bunch of other cases going on, and we're to believe that he was done looking into Biden's kid. Why did Biden force this meeting so quickly? I don't know, but it doesn't look very good at all. Um, we have to look to see if the Ukraine prosecutors firing involved only his alleged corruption and ineptitude, and why did Bermsma American legal team refer to those allegations as false information? It's definitely something we need to look into. If the firing had nothing to do with the Bermsma case, as Biden has admittedly claimed, why would Burisma American lawyers contact the replacement prosecutor within hours of his termination and urgently seek a meeting in Ukraine to discuss the case. These are all valid points that needs to be investigated. I know there's a lot of Dems who are just really, really excited and really happy right now. Oh, we got Trump. Yeah, they're going to get Biden too. They're going to get Biden too. This stuff holds up. Um, it's it is a very murky situation. And even Zelensky, he acknowledged that he knew about Biden's involvement in this Bermsma holding case and the prosecutor. Um, that's very interesting. So, not to mention, there is involvement with CloudStrike, who is part of a Democratic contracting team. Uh, they had a lot to do with this. We just have to understand that I'm on the side that wants all corruption dealt with. Some of that corruption is on Biden's side. It's not all on Trump. Uh, and it's fine, honestly. I mean, for me anyway, I'm fine with it. But Hunter Biden's American business partner in Bermsma, Devin Archer, he texted a colleague 2 days after the Times story about a tragedy to counter the new wave of scrutiny, and stated that he and Hunter had just met at the State Department. The text suggested that they were there um, in effort to protect themselves, to essentially. And that's there we go. That's Hunter Biden's business partner saying, "Hey, this New York Times story came out. It looks like they found out about us. Um, we need to head to the State Department, or we're already at the State Department, I should say." And then in that text, he admitted to suing the State Department for any records related to that meeting. And look, there's a lot of public interest and ethics questions that need to be answered in this situation. Now, does admitting that Biden had all of this murky water surrounding the situation, does that in any way make what Trump did okay? And would that stop the impeachment? 100% no. Because let's just start on the first thing with Trump. Private server. Okay, there's that. You're not supposed to do that. We kind of learned that, although I guess some people can get away with it. But that's just one of many. Um, the one thing people aren't talking about at all. So why was Giuliani, the Trump's personal lawyer, the one handling this? When he said the State Department requested this of him, the State Department said no. He says he has these records that prove they did. There again, I want to see them before I believe any of it. Not to mention Trump, the whole thing that this is cornerstoned upon is that Trump said he was going to look into the corruption of 2016, the election, Biden, and what he did with Bermsma Holding and the prosecutor. That's fine and fair, but if you look into it, there was no case being brought. William Barr said no, there was no investigation going on. So it doesn't seem like it was so much for an investigation as it was to get dirt on Biden. And that's highly illegal. It's tampering with our own politics. Not to mention, you have your own personal lawyer being a representative for our country. None of that adds up to being good. I think this is a clear-cut case of when you crack open the coconut that is the American politics, you find a nice, goopy, murky, nasty ball of corruption. And that is exactly what we have. There's no good guys, there's no bad guys. They were all using their power to gain more capital and to gain more power. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes. the fact remains Biden had a lot to do with it. What Biden did, I mean, again, we have it on. It's interesting how we have the Trump transcript, and you'd really have to squint your eyes, hold your head sideways, and say, I don't think he did it. I think he did do it. Whatever. And there's word you could go on that, but Biden outright said, "Oh yeah, I told Ukraine we're not going to give them that $1 billion unless they fire that prosecutor." That's what he said. That's astounding. Is 100% admitting. And again, it would be an easy process of figuring out who is that prosecutor was looking into and how that directly affects Biden. And you'll see exactly how it does. It's corruption everywhere. But yeah, so Biden admitted he had something to do with this. Um, he did a few years ago. I don't think he thought he was going to get caught or that it was that big of a deal. That's a big part of a lot of it. A lot of these guys don't assume what they're doing is illegal, namely because they have been in power so long. They have no idea what it's like to actually play by any certain rules. So they get away with everything. But yes, it'll be easy to see why we need someone like Bernie Sanders, someone who has not been playing these games and has not been corrupt. I'm very curious to see how this turns out, though. Um, there's a lot in here, and it seems though that maybe the two things that Trump is the most guilty for is attacking the DNC, because remember that's one of the main things he asked out of Zelensky. I want information on the 2016 election, and everyone is claiming that there's servers that could be used in a case against the DNC and the election. We have 100% proof that they rigged the election, the primaries, to get Bernie out. What else did they do? Um, the Steele dossier. It was paid. That was paid for by the Clintons and the DNC. They used that to investigate Trump from the Ukraine and Russia. Yeah. Um, so I think that's, as far as the establishment is considered, that's the thing he did the most. So he tried to call him out. They don't care. They don't care about him locking kids up in cages, him taking money from Saudi Arabia, and then using it for his own personal gain, and then sending our troops to fight on their behalf. No, he doesn't care about ZTE. He doesn't care about any of the corruption that he's done. They don't care about none of that. Namely, because they agree with most of it. But he went after them. He went after the establishment. And that's the reason Pelosi's making a move right now. I don't know. Again, it'll be interesting because I think if you go down this road, Biden's going to go too. And for some of us progressives, that's the best fucking Christmas present we could possibly get. You mean we get Biden and Trump out? Yeah, we'll take it. Anyway, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Just hit me up on Facebook. It's Jay Dillon, JayDylan. On Twitter, it's JC Show VIP. And the YouTube page, which I'm going to start sharing more of, is the community of ideas. Anywhere in there, I'd love to see your comments and your thoughts. Anyone listening on Spotify, iTunes, Anchor, or Google Pod, just look us up. It's Revolution Radio. And put your comments below. We would love to hear them, love to interact with you guys. Anyways, have a great evening. I'll talk to you tomorrow.